Good morning, students. So in previous video, we have seen physical layer characteristics and what are the different kinds of physical mediums existed to connect to physical nodes. So this way we have seen or guided media, unguided media. The medium is categorized into two types called guided and unguided. And in case of guided, it is making use of coaxial cable and then twisted pair cable, optical fiber. Likewise, it is going to make use of different kinds of technologies under guided medium. In case of unguided medium, we make use of wireless signals, which are ranging from microwaves, radio waves, and then even it is having lot of spectrum. And out of this huge spectrum, some of them are used for near distance communication, and some of them are used for longer distance communication. Likewise, we have seen all characteristics of physical layer. And now comes to next layer, that is layer number 2. Layer number 1 is physical layer from bottom to top approach, and layer number 2 is data link layer. Now data link layer is existed in between physical layer and network layer. Now the responsibility of the data link layer, from both sides we have to see what services it is going to provide for physical layer and what services it is going to provide for network layer, and at the same time what services it is taking in order to process the data from network layer as well as the physical layer. This way we want to see how data link layer is cooperating with each other, like how it is cooperating with surrounding layers in order to do the communication effectively. So in this regard, that if you talk from data link layer is making use of host to host communication or node to node communication. So when two systems are connected which are adjacent to each other, and data link layer job is to how effectively the data is transferred between these two links. It is not from the source to destination. It is only bother about how effective data transfer is taking place between two nodes which are connected to a link. And after that, again there is one more data link layer between second node and third node, that is again look after how communication is taking place between in that link. So it is going to make use of a method called node to node communication. Node to node communication. So in this regard, data link layer is existed between network layer and physical layer. So now when we see data link layer, so if this diagram is taken from receiver side, so at receiver side, what is the job of the data link layer? So what it is going to do is it is going to get the services from the physical layer, like how the signals are given, and what kind of signals are given to data link layer, how many number of bits are given. All these things are taken by data link layer, and it is going to prepare the frames. It is going to prepare the frames from this bits carried from the physical medium, and then it is again it is given back to the network layer. So if you observe here, it is having lot of responsibilities, like packaging is one, flow control, media control, addressing, and error control. So these are the basic jobs which are done by the data link layer. So packaging means when packets are coming from the network layer, data link layer job is to collect the packets and prepare a data unit named as a frame. That is called framing concept. Packetization and framing, these two are same. When packets are coming from the above layer, that is network layer, the packets are collected and grouped into a unit called as frame, and again data link layer will add its own header to that frame. That header information includes addressing, like which physical address is assigned to that, and then error control mechanisms, flow control mechanism, all these things are added to that packet and becoming a frame. So this way data link layer is having some set of services with respect to the data coming from the above layer called as packet network layer. And then we need to understand one thing: what are the names we use at different positions in the network model. Now if you talk about application layer, there we call it as data. Data is generated from application, and whenever it is moving to transport layer, it is called as a segment, and then whenever it is moving to network layer, it is called as a packet, and packet is moved to data link layer where it is called as a frame, and then frames are divided into individual bits called as zeros and ones. At physical layer we call it as a bits, that's it. So this way data unit name is referred at a different layers in different ways. Okay, we can't call packet all the time. So if you observe here, this diagram will show you what is the name given to data unit each and every layer. So at application presentation session, we treat the content generated by the user as data. No other name is given. So application layer, presentation layer, session layer are treating that input coming from the user as data. Once it is received by the transport layer, it is having a job of collecting the data from different applications and creating a data unit known as a segment. Once segments are prepared and by adding its content, like its header and trailer, and then that is transferred to a below layer called as a network layer, where it is going to prepare the packet by taking the segments and combining those segments with the control information provided by network layer, which includes IP protocols or IP information like logical address. All these things are added to the segments which are coming from the transport layer. So now whenever it reaches network layer, we call it as a packet. We call it as a packet. Then network layer is going to give its output to data link layer, and then data link layer will prepare a frame. What is a frame? Means frame is a combination of packet and control information provided by the data link layer. Frame is a combination of packet and control information provided by the data link layer. So what control information is included by data link layer means it is having a methodology of how frames are prepared. So that is one control information. And what physical addresses are added, that is one more control information. And whenever it is moving on to a channel, whether it is allowed at T1 time or not, that we call it as access method. Whether the channel is accessed at particular moment of time, that we call it as access. Likewise, such information we call it as control information at data link layer, which is merged with packet to prepare a frame. And once frames are prepared, then frames are given to physical layer, and what physical layer is going to do is it is going to transform the data in the form of zeros and ones, or that is purely depends on the physical medium, as we have already discussed. Bits are transferred in the form of electronic signals or light signals or microwaves or radio waves or infrared waves, whatever it may be the medium, and based on the medium these zeros and ones bits are converted into appropriate medium style. So this way we need to remember what is the name given to data unit at different places of the networking model or different layers of the networking model. So in next slide we will see the relation between packet and frame. That's what I am talking. The input given to data link layer. The input given to data link layer is from the above layer. What is above to data link layer means network layer. Network layer will prepare a data unit called as a packet. When packet is taken by the data link layer, what it is going to do is it is going to add its additional information, that we call it as a control information, in the form of header and trailer. By combining payload, payload means whatever the data sent from the above layer is called as payload. This payload will contain what? Packet information, and this packet information is added. This packet information is added with header and trailer to make up a frame. This way, frame is prepared from the packet. The relation is like this. Frames are prepared from the packets by adding data link layer additional information, that we call it as header and trailer. And same thing is forwarded to the other side, other mission, receiving mission, where this header information and trailer information is used to get back the packet data which is given to the network layer. That's what we will see here. So once you receive this one, header, payload and trailer, and in this, which is the data to be sent to the above layer is decided by this header information and the trailer information. That will give you what part of the data we need to ignore at this level and what part of the data we need to forward to the above layer. So this process is existed in the process of converting a packet into frame, and then frame into packet. And this is at the receiver sender side, and this is at a receiver side. This way the relation is existed. So in next slide we will see the basic design issues of the data link layer. When data link layer, when we want to design the or implement the data link layer, we need to consider the service, uh, some of the issues. One of the major issue is what services provided to network layer, and framing is one, error control and flow control. There is one more which is not shown in this slide. This way data link layer design issues are existed. If you want to work with data link layer, it should address the problems, what services we are going to provide to the network layer, and how that framing is taken care. Framing means preparing data units from the packets. When packet comes to this layer, how many packets are grouped to make up a frame, and packets are not coming all the way all the time. Like sometimes we may get more packets, sometimes we may get less packet. Depends on the incoming flow, we are trying to prepare the frames. Frames need not to have equal length. That purely depends. Now if I am talking, data is generated. If I am sitting ideal, no data is generated. So the packet size is very small when I am not, when I am ideal. When I am talking, the packet size may be more. So likewise, how many packets are coming from the above layer, how those are grouped into a frame, all these things we call it as services provided to the network layer. So we will see this slide in detail. See this one. What services provided means, generally data link layer has to take the packet from the network layer and deliver it to the network layer of the receiver. See, if you observe here, host 1 and host 2 want to communicate, but data link layer 2, layer 2 means data link layer is taking the content from third layer, that is network layer, and communicating with the data link layer of host 2, and that data link layer will deliver the data to the above layer, that is network layer. So this way, network layer of host 1 want to talk with network layer of host 2, but this communication is not done directly, and this is going to talk with what data link layer, and data link layer in turn talk with the data link layer of the host 2, and then data is given back to the packet is given back to the network layer at host 2. But if you see here, this dotted line indicates virtual communication. Virtual in the sense, actually any data we take, either it is from network layer to network layer or physical layer to physical layer, whatever it may be, all has to come from application layer to the physical layer, and then physical layer to the application layer. This is the direction of data flow in networking model. But for the sake of understanding, what we think is network layer is communicating with network layer, that we call it as a virtual communication. But this virtual communication is implemented by traversing from that network layer to data link layer to physical layer, then after physical medium, and then again receiving the signals at physical layer, again data link layer and network layer. So this way, actual communication always goes from layer given to all the layers which are below existed, because depends on the support of those layers only data communication is taken place. No two layers are not directly talking. So if you take physical layer and physical layer, in order to have some communication between host 1 physical layer and host 2 physical layer, below physical layer we have physical medium. So by taking the services of the physical medium only, the communication is taken place. And if you talk from application layer of the host 1, then application is never talking with the application layer of the other directly. So, but the intention is application 1 on host 1 want to communicate with application 1 on host 2. Then application to application communication is not done. So how it is really implemented means, the application has to give request to the below layer, and that is session layer, presentation layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. Through physical medium, the data is moving. Again, the reconstruction of the data is done at receiver side by looking into the header information. By looking into the header information, we can reconstruct the signal at the receiver side. So hope you understand how this communication is done, and how the services are provided to network layer. And now, broadly categorizing the services given to the network layer from data link layer is like this. unacknowledged connectionless services, acknowledged connectionless services, and then acknowledged connection oriented services. Now the meaning of these three are very simple. Unacknowledged connectionless services means when data is coming from the network layer, data is coming from different direction. There is no fixed path between sender and receiver before data transfer. No pre-establishment of connection is required. In case of connectionless, all the packets are generated and all the packets will traverse in the network with different paths. And once that data received at the receiver side, that receiver need not to give any reply back to sender saying that I have received your packet. That's the reason it is called as unacknowledged connectionless services. There are many situations where it is useful. Now if you are in a reliable environment, reliable in the sense there is less chance of having errors. 99% that communication will done successfully. In that cases, no need to wait for the acknowledgements, and we don't want to get any acknowledgement because we know that our medium is reliable, so that data will deliver properly. So sender will not wait for the acknowledgement. Again, it is connectionless in the sense no pre-connection is established. Whenever the path is available, automatically packets will search for the path at dynamic time, and packets need not to arrive in the same order. Like packets will traverse through different paths. So nth packet may receive first, n-1 may receive later. There are many techniques how these packets are reconstructed at the other side, so that we make use of sequence numbers. Every packet is given with a sequence number. If you are not getting that one in the order, we rearrange the packets in order to get your original message. Like this, that is one of the service given to the network layer. And there is one more called acknowledged connectionless. Again, still we stick to that principle, like no pre-connection is established between two systems, and no permanent connection. The pre-connection in the sense no permanent connection is existed between two systems. Only thing is acknowledgement is required. When a sender sends a packet to the destination, then he is waiting for the reply from the receiver. When he get a reply from the receiver, then he is supposed to, as a sender, I am supposed to send one more packet. Likewise, there is one more service called as acknowledged connectionless services. In this also, packets are moving with different paths, and there is no permanent connection existed. So paths are randomly moving, depends on the availability of the paths. A packet may opt for different paths available, and this way acknowledgement is required, second service. And the last one is more reliable, acknowledged connection oriented services. In this, it is implemented in three phases actually. First phase is a connection is established between source and destination, that we call it as connection establishment phase. Once connection is like I want to open a connection with so and so destination will accept the connection. Once these two communication is taken place, then a path is existed. Once path is existed, total data transfer is taken place by using the same path. Total data transfer is taken place by using the same path. Once the total data transfer is taken place, sender will initiate a message saying that I want to terminate the connection as I have as I don't know content to send, or my content is completed. So then again sender will give a message saying that I want to terminate the connection, and receiver side also we will get a message saying that accept a terminated connection. Likewise, and whatever the data we send, for every unit of data, packet 1 is sent, acknowledgement 1 is received. Packet 2 is sent, acknowledgement 2 is received. All these things are existed at a acknowledged connection oriented services. So this way services are provided to the network layer in different form. Acknowledgement required or connection oriented service. Based on this, acknowledgement required or connectionless or connection oriented. Based on these concepts, services are categorized into these three types. Okay, so this way it's existed. So now the next functionality is framing. Framing means the process of preparing the frames from the above content. Above content means what? Packets are coming to the data link layer. When packets are coming to the data link layer, how data units are prepared at a data link layer. That unit name we call it as what? Frame. So framing is a process of accepting the packets from the above layer and preparing a data unit by adding additional information. By adding additional information. So this framing can be implemented in different ways, like character count is one method, byte stuffing is another method, bit stuffing is another method, or physical layer coding violations. So now in case of character count method, what it is going to do is when a frame is prepared, it is going to give a field called count. So if it is 10, the receiver will receive 10 bits and named it as a frame. Now when data is coming from the above layers continuously, we want to identify what is the size of the frame and how many bits are comes under frame. All these things are decided with the help of character count. So if you see next diagram, you can easily understand. See this example, which is based on a principle of character count, framing using character count. So here if you observe, the first content of the frame is what? 5, meaning whenever it is received at the receiver side, 5 character, only 5 bits are taken, and that is considered as a frame. So frame 1, if you take, 5 characters are existed. First one is exclusively used for what? Count, and remaining 4 are used for content. And similarly next we have 5. It means second frame is prepared with 5 characters, including this 5 count, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So up to this we got 5. And now if you see 8 here, now whenever we come across 8, it understands we are preparing a frame of size 8 characters. So it is going to prepare frame 3 of 8 characters. Again we got 8. So the frame size is 8 in this case. Likewise, this example will show you frame 1 of size 5 characters, frame 2 of size 5 characters, frame 3, frame 4 of size 8 characters. This way, framing means dividing the bits into different units is done. Dividing the bits into different units is done with the count methodology. But the problem with this methodology is when the count itself corrupted, whenever the packet is traversing from the source to destination, the entire concept is collapsed. I repeat, we have sent properly, let us say this example we take, B example, we have 5 first, then okay, it is as it is received. Now if you take second frame also of size 5, but unfortunately whenever it is traversing in the network or because of noise, this 5 becomes 7. Now what happens in this case is, 7 means the receiver will understand now the frame size is 7, it is going to include up to 7 characters by taking 0. Now actually when you think from the above example, up to this point only, up to 9 only, frame 2 is prepared. But because of one mistake done, because of 1 bit change, instead of 5 we got 7, so 7 bits are taken for frame 2. And later again if you see here, we have only 1. Actually there is no frame with one size. 1 means size is indicated, but there is no character. So if you want to represent a frame, at least we should have 2 bits. One is to represent the count and the others are to take the data. So if you take here now, character count is 1, so there is no frame prepared. Likewise, total frame content is shuffled when 1 bit is corrupted while it is in the journey. So it is a problem for the first method called character count method. So this way the first method to implement framing is done. Okay. So next methodologies we will see in next class.